Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. Today we get to the last psalm that is connected to the songs of ascent that are connected to the city. We've talked about before in previous devotions how these songs of ascent would have been songs that they would have sung, that is, the Israelites would have sung as they made the ascent to Jerusalem and even enter into Jerusalem and approach the sanctuary. And the first two psalms were their preparation for the journey and then also their embarking on the journey. And then we got into the psalms in which they actually enter into the city, which started in Psalm 122. And each one of these psalms where they are singing these songs of ascent in the city reveal something about God or concentrate on something, some aspect of God. We saw that in, Psalm 122 was kind of an introduction, but then Psalm 123 talked about God's favor, Psalm 124 about God's help, Psalm 125 about God's protection, Psalm 126 about God's redemption or restoration, Psalm 127 about God's stability and security, 128 God's blessing, 129 God's justice, and 130 God's forgiveness. But Psalm 131 is the pinnacle of them all, and it comes at the end of these songs of ascent that are connected to the city. And this one is the highlight of them all because the psalmist gets to the point to where he recognizes that just God, for who he is, God's person, is something to be valued. Not so much all the things that are connected to God as far as like his favor, his help, his protection, his redemption, his security, the blessings, the justice, the forgiveness. Those are all wonderful things and great things, but they all seem to work to bring the people to this experience of just valuing God for who he is, just for himself, and not necessarily what he can provide for them. And Psalm 131 kind of highlights that. It says, "O Lord, my heart is not proud, nor my eyes haughty, nor do I involve myself in great matters, or in things too difficult for me. Surely I have composed and quieted my soul. Like a weaned child rests against his mother, my soul is like a weaned child within me. O Israel, hope in the Lord from this time forth and forever." And so this shows that as the people abide in the city, they recognize all these various aspects of God, but then they come to realize that they can be just content being with the Lord. Even if all the other things went away, just being with God was something valuable. Brought to a state of humility. My heart is not proud, nor my eyes haughty, nor do I involve myself in great matters or things too difficult for me. Humbling themselves in light of all of who God is, but then also just seeking the presence of God without necessarily the presence of God, that is, the gifts of God, where it says, "Surely I have composed and quieted my soul, like a weaned child rests against his mother. My soul is like a weaned child within me." A child that is weaned doesn't really need to be against the mother for any other reason than to be in the presence of the mother and to be close to the heart of the mother. A child that's weaned has been weaned of the breast milk. And so the child that is weaned but still wants to be embraced by the mother, still wants to be held by the mother, shows that the child values the mother, not because of the milk that she provides, but because of who she is, the person that she is. She is that child's mother. And spiritually speaking, the children of Israel should have came to this realization as well, that God's person, who he is in relationship to them, was valuable enough to where even if the Lord didn't provide anything for them, they could be like that weaned child who still press in close to be near to the presence of God. And that should be that's when we become, to a certain extent, spiritually mature. When we seek God just simply for who he is. and not for his blessings, not for his gifts, not for all those other things, though we might ask for those things from time to time to get us through this difficult life. But ultimately, wholeheartedly, we just want to give our lives to him and be close to him in the presence of him because of who he is, because we value God simply for who he is and simply because of the relationship that we have with him. And so we too can join with the psalmist here and say, Lord, I'm like a weaned child who's not seeking anything from you at the moment, but just wants to be close to you, just wants to be near to your heart. This is the time in which we really enter into a great established relationship with God when we reach that point. And then it closes with, O Israel, hope in the Lord from this time forth and forever. As we draw near to the Lord, we seek the presence of God in our lives. We just continually place our hope in him, not our hope in earthly possessions, not our hope in wealth or any other thing, but just simply placing our hope in the Lord, drawing in close to him in his presence, and just valuing the relationship with him above everything else. And so certainly Psalm 131 can be seen as the highlight of all these psalms, all these songs of ascent connected to the city that are brought out. So as we do our reading today and we read Psalm 131, let's try to have the same heart as Psalm 131 and just seek the Lord's presence today. Maybe not even asking the Lord for anything in particular, not going with our laundry list or our grocery list of things that we want him to do for us, but just to say, Lord, I just want to be near you today. I just want to walk with you. I want to share fellowship with you and communion with you because I desire you as a person and as my God. And I want to walk this day with you hand in hand through every moment and through every hour of this day. So maybe we can make this our heart's desire today. And with that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.